Hello students. So let us consider the first question of practical on importance sampling. We have already discussed basics of importance sampling. So the first question is about computation of integration of this. You can easily guess this is nothing but the probability that x lies between 1 and 2 when x follows standard normal distribution. So the first question is estimate this using the basic Monte Carlo method. So what we will do, we will generate random observations from normal 0 1 and then we'll see how many observations are lying between 1 and 2. And then the second one, then the n is also given, 100,000 is the n. So also find the estimated standard error. Means what? So we have already discussed standard error, absolute error, relative error in the earlier case. So what can be done is we can repeat this procedure multiple times. So we will have multiple values of estimate of this. So from those values we can find the standard error of the estimator. Then the find an analytical expression for the standard error of your estimate. So I think that you can do, then compare to the estimated standard error. Okay. So what can be done is you can actually find how much is the exact value of this using the integrate function, and then we can compare it with the error. So this also can be done. And then estimate I using importance sampling. Take Q to be normal 1.5 V square, where V is 0.1. So V square will be C so small. Then V is 1 and V is 10. So do you understand the choice of proposal distribution here? It is varying actually. Sorry. When V is equal to 0.1, so V square will be simply 0.01. So very small variance. Then here the usual variance 1 and here very large variance. So which distribution works well, that also we will see. So let us get back to R and try to find the answers to all these three questions here. So we are in R. So let us try to find the solution. Uh, so N is 100,000. Oh, why am I adding hashtag to it? So this is what we want to find basically. Probability that x lies between 1 and 2 when x follows normal 0 1. Hmm? Now n is 100,000. Hmm? Now what we are going to do is we are going to generate random sample from normal 0 1 and then we'll see how many values are lying between 0 and 1. Is it correct? So, and then let us have a look at probability. Are we right? Okay, 0.13411. Now let us look at the actual probability. Sorry, it will be the CDF at 0.2, P norm at 0.2 minus 1. So almost close. It goes very close. 13411 and 0.135901. So this is kind of an estimator. So we want to see how is it performing. So what do we do? Theoretically it is really difficult. You can work out on your own and you can find theoretically its properties. It will be a normally asymptotically normally distributed. It will be a consistent estimator and so on. So you can easily prove it. In fact, when you studied asymptotic inference, you might have even proven it. So it's not at all difficult to prove properties of this estimate theoretically, but can we estimate properties here through simulations? So what can be done is, let us repeat this procedure. Say sim is my running variable, then sim in 1 to say 1000 simulations I am carrying out. So 1000 times I would be looking at the value of this. So 1000 values of these estimates will be available to me. So for this, first I must create a vector of name PR, and then now for 1000 simulations I'll be doing this. It may take some time on your laptop because sample size is 100,000 and you are doing it 1000 times. So you can understand how many times you would be or how many samples you would be generating. So let us try to run this, and this is nothing but the actual value, so I'm calling it as answer. So what we want to know is what is the um, error na? So see, this is over, so you can look at the mean of PR, then you can look at the variance of PR. Okay. So mean is very much close to the answer, variance is very much close to 0, isn't it? See, okay, so see, the average value was 0.1358691 and the answer is 0.1359051. So they are very close. Let us calculate the mean squared error of this estimate, relative error of this estimate. So to calculate the mean squared error, we need sum of PR minus answer whole square upon n, right? So see, mean squared error is also very zero, almost zero. 1.14 into 10 raised to minus 8. So very small, extremely small mean squared error. What about the relative error? So this is mean squared error. Now the relative error is nothing but this much was the error when this much was the answer, isn't it? Oh, something went wrong. I'm sorry, I should have run this first. Now look at it. So again, relative error is also very small. So you can safely say mean squared error is small, so that is enough actually. So you can safely say that this estimator is performing well, and now we are told to apply importance sampling. Means what we have to do is we have to consider QX. So QX is to be taken as normal 1.5 V square, where different values of V are to be taken, and then use importance sampling to get the answer. So how do we do that? First let us write Qx is normal 1.5 V square, right? So let us take V is equal to 0.1 first. So what do we want? We want expectation of the normal PDF over the range 1 to 2. So now if we take Qx is equal to this normal 1.5 V square, then we will need to compute the ratio. If you which ratio? So we will need the ratio of sorry, we will need the ratio of px which is nothing but the normal PDF upon qx. So basically we are computing expectation of hx, which is a binary function here. 1, hx will be 1 if x is between 1 to 2, 0 otherwise. So hx px upon qx. So we are calculating expectation of this quantity with respect to this density function. This is what we mean by importance sampling. So what we will do is, first we will generate observations from Q, and then we'll see, then we'll compute this Hx Px by Qx. Now what do you understand from computing hx px by qx when h is indicator variable, or when h is taking value 1 or 0? So hx will be 1 if x is between 1 and 2 and 0 elsewhere. So we will compute the value px by qx only for those values of x for which x is between 1 and 2. Okay, so I hope you have understood this. So let us first generate observations from normal n with mean 1.5 and standard deviation is v. Right, here we do not specify variance, we specify standard deviation. So we are going to specify it as v, and now we have to compute this. So suppose I call this as, say, g. So g is nothing but px by qx. So g is px by qx if x is between 1 and 2, right? Means if what if we use the function if else x is greater than 1 and x is less than 2, calculate this, na? D norm, what is px? Standard normal density at the point x. And what is the qx? Normal density with mean 1.5 calculated at point x with mean 1.5 and standard deviation v. So if x is greater than 1 and less than 2, then this ratio will be calculated, otherwise this g will be simply 0. Right? So this g is nothing but hx px by qx. So let us try running this. Let us see. So this g will be again a vector. Now our estimate is nothing but the mean of this vector g, isn't it? We are calculating expectation of gx with respect to the PDF q. So we have generated observations from q. Now we have computed this gx here in this vector for the sample we had generated here, and now we will simply look at the mean. So something went wrong. It should be 0.13 na. It is giving only 0.100 even when n is 100,000. So shall we check whether it is happening or not? You can cross check whether this is correct or not. Let us try to rerun this. 0.10, 0.11. So see, every time it is underestimating, isn't it? Every time this is underestimating the value. So why this could be the case? This could be the case because V is very small, isn't it? So variance is 0.01. It's a very small variance. So what is happening here is the extreme values are not getting explored here. In the sense, when you generate random observations from this distribution, ultimately you wanted random observations from normal 0, 1. So normal 0, 1 and normal 1.5 V with V is equal to 0.1, they are differing a lot in terms of variance, and so as a result, because you are exploring only some part of the intended density function, hence you are underestimating the actual probability. So suppose I call this as G1 because we are going to have three different, and now because we are told to find error of this estimate as well. So let us take a loop the way we had earlier. So generate multiple samples first. So suppose we have 1000 simulations. So G1, just like earlier we had, let us take it as a vector. Then this will be the loop. Here we should have the bracket sim. Okay. So now we should try to see what do we get.
So what will be your estimator? I am sorry, this is wrong. This is going to be a vector. We should stop this. There were warnings. Obviously, there would be warnings. Now, G1 is fine. Now, suppose we have to store it, estimator 1. Hmm? So, estimator 1 will be simply mean of this. Hmm? So, here now you are computing estimator. So, now let us run this. It will take time because 100,000 samples, 100,000 values to be generated 1000 times. Okay, so it is over. Variance is 0. Why this has happened? See, because variance could be in the power of 10 raised to minus 10. So as a result, this he is showing it to be completely 0, isn't it? Because original variance itself is 0.01. And now you are simulating observations from that, and then you are limiting them to be between 1 and 2, and then their average you are considering. So automatically this variance will be very very small. So in fact all the values could be almost same. Is that the case? So let us look at the vector, 10 values of the vector. Practically they are the same. Why? Because we have not changed x. Such a silly mistake we made. So we are making all types of mistakes here, and we are trying to eliminate them one by one. So it won't be 0 unless you have exactly same values. Why we had exactly same values? Because we were not generating different values of x. So let us do this again. Okay, so it is over now. So see, but guess was not right. So see, it is a biased estimator. Look at the mean. You know the actual value. It is 0.13. Here your average is 0.10. So the clear bias. So the mean squared error will be definitely large. You can look at the mean squared error. Do you realize the mistake we made here? Here this denominator should not be n. The denominator should be the length. So how many values were there? 1000. So the denominator should be 1000. So the mean squared error, it will change now. It won't be that pretty, but still it is very less. And here also it should not be n, it should be 1000. So MAC 1C. Notice the difference. It is 0.00117. So whereas earlier it was almost 10 raised to minus 6. Notice that mean squared error is bound to be extremely small here. Whenever you are applying inference, whenever you are trying to estimate things, whenever you are trying to investigate properties of certain estimates, never leave your logic outside the class. always think how or why it is happening. How it is happening and why it is happening. Now, why do I expect mean squared error to be very low in this case? Why is it so obvious to have mean squared error to be so small? No matter, even if we can clearly see that there is a bias. This is because the question, the parameter which we are estimating, that is nothing but a probability. Probability that x lies between 1 and 2. So this we are trying to estimate. So that being a probability is always going to be between 0 and 1. So your estimator is never going to exceed 1. No? At most it will be 1. The actual value is 0.13. So suppose your estimator is a really bad estimator. Still the means even if it is 1, still the error will be at most zero point 0.7. Zero point 0.7 is not a large number. So your error can be at most around zero point 0.7, isn't it? So in that case, obviously if that is the situation, then the mean squared error values won't be really large, isn't it? Because the estimator and the actual value both are lying between 0 and 1. So the error values are also very small, and as a result the mean squared error is bound to be small. So how much small is really small? So this much small, isn't it? 1.14 into 10 raised to minus 6. So this is the kind of error that we expect here for a good estimator. So mean squared error, this one, this EST1 is not that, in that way it is not a great estimator. So now let us try to copy this. Change Q. Na? We wanted V is equal to, we took V is equal to 0.1. Let us take V is equal to 1 and let us see what do we get. So now let us run this part. V is equal to 1 and now let us say I'll copy this. You don't have to do it. I am just doing it because I have time. So I want you to understand everything here. So I have changed V. So I am also changing name of the estimator here. So D norm x01 upon D norm V. This will remain. This is not going to change. So mean of G2. So this is all, this is when V is equal to 1. Alright, is there anything which I should have changed and I did not? No. So now let us try to run this. Here I forgot to change. So now let us run this. You can see here how many. Okay, done. So see, notice the difference. Mean EST 0.1359. See, so close. Sorry, mean EST is, yes, 0.1359389 and the actual answer is 0.1359051. So really good, na? What do you think? Really good. So MSC2 is this, and now let us change V is equal to, let us take V is equal to 10 and let us run this code again. V is 10. So I'm going to call this as third estimator. This will become G3. So now look at the values. What is the mean? See, 0.1359393. So, and the error is really small, 5.42 into 10 raised to minus 6. So you can look at all the values now together. See, so MAC1 was 0.0011, MAC2 is 3.73 into 10 raised to minus 7, MAC3 is 5.42 into 10 raised to minus 6. So 5.42, from 10 raised to minus 6, it increased to 10 raised to minus, from 10 raised to minus 7, it got increased to 10 raised to minus 6. So 10 times more than the original one. Why is it so? Because the variance is large, 100. That is too big. So that is why we are getting this estimator. So now you can, what can be your conclusion then if this is the case? What do you think? Which estimator would you go for? Clearly you would go for the second estimator. Why? Because there the variance has been adjusted so that the original distribution is what you can say covered by the proposal distribution appropriately. So now let us consider the second question also. Let us get back to the second question of in the practical sheet.